Before we read Chapter 9, Shooting Match, from the Indian in the Cupboard, I want you to think about dialect. Remember, dialect is a literary device that authors use to help us really hear how a character sounds and really see the difference between one character in the story from another. And sometimes it gives us an inside look into the time period the character is from, the setting, and sometimes it even shows us emotion. So be on the lookout for dialect. Here we go. Chapter 9, Shooting Match. Omri put the cowboy and horse in his sock drawer while he had the quickest supper on record. Then he raced upstairs again, stopping only to pinch a few grains of Gillian's rat feed for the two horses. Shut up in his room, he took stock. A room this size was a sort of indoor national park to the cowboy and the Indian. It should be easy enough to keep them apart for one night. Omri thought first of putting the new pair straight back into the cupboard, and then bringing them back to life the next morning, in time for school. But he had promised Patrick not to. So he decided to empty out the dressing-up crate and put the cowboy and his horse in there for the night. The crate was about 2 feet square, made of planks. There was certainly no visible way out of it for the cowboy. Omri put him carefully down into it. Looking down at him, he felt curious about his name, where he came from, and so on, but he decided it was better not to talk to him. The cowboy had clearly decided that Omri was not really there at all. When his big hands reached down, carrying some cold stew, grain for the horse, some fragments of apple for them both, and later, some cotton wool and scraps of material for bedding, the cowboy deliberately covered his eyes by pulling down his big hat brim. It was only when Omri reached in one final time to give him a drink of water in a minute green glass bottle that he had found in the bathroom cupboard that the cowboy spoke a word. "Take that filthy stuff out of here," he suddenly shouted in his strong Texas accent. "I ain't aiming to drink no more that as long as I live." And he heaved the bottle, which was almost as big as himself, up by its base and tipped its contents out onto the boards at the bottom of the crate. "It's only water," Omri ventured to say. "You shut your mouth," shouted the little man. "I won't take no lip from no gol darn hallucination. No, sir. Maybe I do drink too much. Maybe I can't hold my liquor like some of them real tough guys do. But if I'm a-getting the delirium trimmings and starting to seeing things, why couldn't I see pink elephants and dancing rats and all them pretty things other fellas see when they gets far gone? It ain't fair for me to see giants and blue deserts and get put in boxes the size of the Grand Canyon with none but my little horse for company." He sat down on the pile of hay, took the horse's nose in his arms, put his face against it, and began to sob. Omri was shattered. A cowboy crying. He didn't know what to do. When his mother cried, as she did sometimes when things got too much, she only asked to be left alone till she felt better. Maybe all grown-ups were like that. Omri turned away and got slowly into his pajamas, and then went to see how Little Bear was getting along on the far side of the crate. He'd finished the painting. The teepee looked really good. Little Bear was now in the longhouse, arranging his blankets for the night. The pony was tethered to his post on a long rope. Omri took out the rat food and gave it to him. Then he called Little Bear out. "Are you okay? Anything you need?" He should have known better than to ask. "Plenty. Want fire in longhouse. Keep warm. Keep animals away. Want tomahawk." "So you can chop bits out of my leg?" "Little Bear angry wouldn't say that. Sorry now. Use tomahawk, cut down trees. Chop firewood, kill fish." "What fish?" Little Bear replied with a very good imitation of a fish swimming. Then he did a mime of catching it, putting it onto a block end, with a whirl of his arm, chopping off its head with gleeful relish. I don't know about that.
You get, tomorrow, fish from plastic. Good tools, but fire now. Chief Little Bear say.
Omri sighed. He went to the waste paper basket and picked out the remains of the other fire that he'd thrown away in there. There was quite a lot of firelighter left. He gathered up some bits of willow bark and twigs from where Little Bear had been working. You're not having it inside, though. Far too dangerous. He arranged the fire on the packed earth of the seed tray about 6 inches from the entrance to the longhouse, first moving the teepee to safety. Then he struck a match, and soon there was a cozy blaze. Little Bear crouched beside it, his red skin glowing and his eyes bright with pleasure. Little Bear, can you dance?
Yes, many kinds.
Would you do one now so I can see? He hesitated, then shook his head once. Why not, though?
No reason dance.
Maybe if I got you a wife? The Indian looked up eagerly.
You get? Give word?
I only said I'd try.
Then Little Bear dance. Then do best dance. Love dance.
Omri turned off his light and drew back from the scene. It looked amazingly real, with the fire shadows, the little horse munching his grain, and the Indian sitting on his heels, warming himself, wearing his colorful headdress and chief's cloak. Omri wished he himself were small enough to join Little Bear by the fire. Omri, are you in bed? I'm coming up in 5 minutes to kiss you goodnight. Omri felt panicky, but it was all right. The fire was going out. Already Little Bear was standing up, yawning and stretching. He peered up through the darkness.
Hey, Omri, painting's good?
Great!
You sleep now?
Yes.
Peace of great spirits be with you.
Thanks. Same to you. Omri peered quickly into the crate. The poor cowboy had crawled away into his makeshift bed and was snoring loudly. He hadn't eaten a thing. Omri sighed. He hoped Patrick was making plans and arrangements. After all, if Omri could keep his Indian secret, Patrick might be able to do the same. All might yet be well. But Omri certainly wasn't going to try the experiment again. It was all just too much worry. He climbed into bed, feeling unusually tired. His mother came in and kissed him, and the door was shut. He felt himself drifting off almost right away, when suddenly a piercing whinny sounded, and it was answered by another. The horses had smelled each other. They were not so far apart, and the cowboy's wasn't tied up. Omri could hear his little hooves clattering on the bare boards of the crate. And then the whinnies began again, high, shrill, almost questioning. Omri thought of putting on his light, but he was awfully tired. Besides, what could he do? They couldn't possibly reach each other through the planks of the crate wall. Let them whinny their heads off. They'd soon get fed up. Omri rolled over and fell asleep.